Hey, welcome to Take It to Two. It's episode 36. I'm Angela Griffith.
I'm Erin Gillette. You didn't count down. This is the first time you didn't count down.
I don't know what's going on.
You're frazzled.
My ass hurts. I didn't even tell you. So, like, you've been sick and injured. I think I was having, I had to go out of town to do a job. Mm-hmm. And the day that, since you were in the hospital, there was a day that it froze outside. I hit the welcome mat in my house. Like, half of me was in the house, half of me was out. I hit the welcome mat, and then I did the complete split.
A split. Oh.
So sitting for any length of time, my ass starts to hurt.
We need to get you a donut.
A
sitting and eating one.
Yeah. Welcome back, Double D.
Yeah. Who knew?
Holy shit. I don't think I've ever seen you so sick.
No, I don't know. Somebody gave me something, and it's not Ebola. They tested me for that.
Well, I was going to say the traveler was convinced it was Ebola.
I know. Well, every time you go into the hospital, they go through this whole big, have you been in Africa in the last 4 weeks?
No, but she'd like to be in Africa, if you know what I mean.
I told the one guy, I was like, what if I answer yes? And he just looked at me. I was like, oh, not the time to joke. Got it.
I don't know. They get so sensitive. There's like no reasoning with people when you want a sense of humor in the hospital.
No, I was like, I'm the sick one. You can lighten up just a little bit. If I'm laughing, you can laugh. But
do you think people get sued all the time, though, for making Ebola jokes?
Oh, I'm sure they get in big trouble. I truly, at each emergency room, because I had to go to multiple emergency rooms.
The state of healthcare in the United States. Obama, I hope that you're listening.
Holy crap. I had to fill out paperwork that was like, I swear I've not been in Africa in the last 4 weeks and that I have not been in contact with anybody with Ebola.
Does that count if you like black guys?
If I like African men? Oh, I haven't been in them either, so I guess I'm okay.
I would hope that's not the case, but they would like to be in you. Own. Okay, they'd like to be in their own.
No, I was pretty convinced. I was like, I either have Ebola or I'm pregnant and I didn't know it. Like, second coming of Jesus.
Oh.
I told Big Feet
that must have been really uncomfortable with your mom being there.
I told Big Feet, I was like, I'm pretty sure I was pregnant and I just didn't know. And,
by who, though?
And by God.
Oh, by God.
It was going to be Jesus.
Wait a second, by who? Was that Denzel Washington, by the way? I don't see Morgan Freeman as God as much as I see Denzel Washington. Hello.
Well,
even with those little
crooked finger. Hawaiian shirts all the time.
Why not?
No, it was quite interesting. Big Feet was like, yeah, that makes sense. You, of all people, would be carrying the next Jesus. And I was like, I think
that was kind of mean, insulting. That's almost as bad as when you said that I wasn't your fantasy lesbian marriage or whatever, you bitch. I'm still holding a grudge from last year.
I stand by that statement.
Do you know what today is?
The 25th of February.
I'm sorry, I'm drinking orange juice on here. It's the day before our 2-year anniversary. Oh. We're like a serious couple now.
But it's this 2-year anniversary. Is
it like
first
paper? Posting.
Is it paper towels or something? Like, is it paper? Is that flint?
It's a sanitary napkin. Oh. Yeah. So I'm going to be getting you a pad.
A maxi pad?
A maxi pad. And I hope that you do like and kind.
Oh, well, I wish I had brought home from the hospital those, pregnancy pads.
Are they the worst?
They're the worst and the best all at once. Like, the first time you put one on, you're like, I pretty much have a pillow in my pants right now. And then afterwards, you're like, God, I could, wet my pants for 6 days and no one would know.
Super absorbent. Because, they have to do double duty. So they go from, just regular sick people
first off, they go from your navel all the way to mid-spine.
I like that. I like that in a pad. I like that
in a man. It's like a rocking horse.
Listen, I like that in a man and I like that in my pad. I just want coverage everywhere. So your penis better work everywhere.
Your penis better go from my navel to the small of my back.
I don't think that's such a bad thing to ask for. So, why not? My navel to the small of my back? Can you imagine how awesome that would be?
No, all I can...
Except that it'd be out my throat.
I was just going to say it's like bending in a weird way now in my head.
I don't know. So. I would take it. But
or you'd try.
I try. But it's so funny because, you have to use them in the maternity ward and you're so sore there. You're like, I brought my own last time. I was like, there's no way that I'm using those horrible pads because everything hurts.
I didn't mind them after I
you got used to it. And
no,
your period.
No, I didn't have any pee problems, which was good.
They kept
telling me, this is why you're in the hospital. I was like, it's really not. I
drink a lot of water.
I'm really good with peeing right now.
Fuck. Can I tell you that I had a dirty dream last night?
Oh, what about?
About
peeing? Is this why?
No, I don't know why the talk about maxi pads just entered my mind and said, I had a sex dream last night. I'm a little embarrassed to talk about it because it was with a mere child.
Oh, I thought you were going to say with a mere cat.
Oh God.
I was like, that's sexy
really
time.
mean. That's asshole.
With Amir, you were a child, or you were
No.
doing sexy time with a child?
Do you know that actor?
I think that's called pedophilia.
Yeah, it's definitely. He's what's his fucking name? Ansel Engelabort or whatever his name.
The one that The Fault in Our Stars. Yeah,
because I think there's a theme here because he looks like Mark Ruffalo in a way, like he could be Mark Ruffalo's son.
He's got a touch of the something.
The Downs. What? Suddenly you're out of the hospital, you almost died, and you're like, wow, I'm not going to be me anymore. I'm going to be the nicer,
I'll be the clean
kinder
version.
Aaron Gillette.
You're right.
No, you're still a bitch. Trust me.
I still am. I'm not worried.
But yeah, I had what's his last name? Engelabort?
I think that's way more
Angle
than
snort.
It's like Angle. It's like Engelson or something.
No, it's not. It's like Engel Schnort or something. I don't
Schwitz.
know.
I don't know.
It was fair. Engel Schwitz. I had that dream about Angel Schwitz. Angel Schwitz. It was super amazing. But I woke up embarrassed. Like Paul got up to shower this morning, and I was like,
"He's older than 18, though, isn't he?"
Yeah, but he's still a child. Like,
but you're a cougar.
I'm a full. No, I am not a cougar.
You would be if you were with Ansel.
Cougar is like almost a hot way to describe one woman. That woman not being me. I'm more like Saint Bernard hot. You know what I mean? I'm reliable.
You always have a vat of whiskey on your neck.
I'll bring booze to get it on. But it was so embarrassing. Like I got up and went, it was like I made out with one of my kids' boyfriends. It was so embarrassing. And Paul was like, are you all right? I'm like, I will be. Just give me a moment. You know, it was one of those. Like I woke up, I was flushed. He goes, are you sweating? And I was like, maybe.
Nope, that's not.
But he looks like Mark Ruffalo. Like if I had to choose between Engelhort and Mark Ruffalo, I'd take Mark Ruffalo because he looks like he can't outrun me.
Yeah.
Well, he's old and he looks like he can't outrun me.
That's why I like him. So narrowed that down.
His balls hang down to his knees. That's how I want him.
He's got a little snow in the pipe, I'm sure.
Gross.
I think he's yummy, Mark Ruffalo.
Uh-huh. He's short though, which is okay with me too. Obviously,
he's like pocket size.
Well, what 5'8" is pocket size?
Yeah, he could go right in my pocket. right
when we slow dance, he could put his head on my chest. That would be okay. He is so cute to me. He was even cute to me when that movie. What was it? Foxcatcher. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that yet?
No, Christina did that movie.
No, really? Your friend?
Yeah, that was shot in Pittsburgh.
Oh, I loved it. It was such a good, I have to tell you, it was such a good movie. But even in that, he's like got 50 pounds on him and he looked like he had a touch of the Downs too. And I was still like, wow, you're in extra stretchy sweatpants and you're 50 pounds overweight. Awesome. You're just my type.
Christina told me when she was working on that, she was like, this is going to be a good movie. So she said, when you work on a film, you know instantly if it's going to be good or bad. If then like the first 2 weeks, she was like, this is going to be good. And I was like, really?
When have you ever said that? Because I've not said that on a movie that I worked on yet.
No. In fact, most movies...
I'd like to work on a movie that was good, but...
Most movies, I'm like, wow, this is going to be so bad.
Most movies I go, yikes. Because you read it and then you go, did anyone else read this script?
I kept telling the one, I guess it was the first movie I did.
The movie that shall remain nameless.
Yeah, the one, yes, because I feel bad. I think it was the first one I ever completely did. The writers and directors would come into my office and be like, Erin,
my butt hurts.
They'd be like, did you read the rewrite? And I was like, yeah, I did. Guess I had to, I'm forced to. They're like, isn't it funny? It's much better, right? And I'd be like, if you read it like so-and-so would say it, I get where you're going. And they're like, yeah. It's like,
but you have
so bad.
Allegedly, you have Chris Kattan saying these lines. So he is no Steve Carell.
Oh my God. It was bad. I was like, wow.
You know a stinker. And I, seriously, like, I don't know how you go into a meeting and have a script like that and don't go,
so,
wow. Who gets the money to do that?
But think about it. There are some movies that I've watched where I was like, this is going to be bad. This is going to be really bad. And then I watched it and been like, it's so bad that it's kind of awesome. And I would watch it again. Like, I think, what's the Chris Kattan movie? The only one that I like, Corky Romano, is so bad that I fucking love it.
I was going to say Joe Dirt, but I get those are little short actors.
David Spade.
Sorry, David Spade. I think you're talented, but Juliet loves Joe Dirt.
Really? I've never seen Joe Dirt. I do like David Spade, though. I think he's funny in kind of a gross way.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Speaking of movies that were really bad, I saw 50 Shades of Grey on the opening day because my friends were like,
who
we
did
have
you
to
go with?
I went with Katie and Candy.
Was there drinking involved?
Afterwards.
No, but did you wish that you had drinking like they do in Pittsburgh?
No, I have to tell you, I reread the books because my friends were like,
Do you mean after I slaughtered it?
no,
and read the zombie
my friends
book
were
instead?
like, we're gonna go on Valentine's Day.
How
we're
romantic,
gonna
a guy smacking you.
we're gonna go and see this movie. And I was like, oh my god, I so don't want to see this movie. This is gonna be like the Twilight movies, that they're so bad that you kind of have to watch them if you've read the books. And so I was like, all right, let me reread the books because I don't remember what the fuck happened. I mean, the story is so stupid. Right. I don't remember. So I reread the books and laughed the entire time. I was like, wow, this really is horribly written. Horribly written.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. As soon as I burst that bubble, I felt bad. I was like...
No, I still like, there's still scenes in the book where I'm like, oh yes, all right, giddy up. That sounds great. The book is terrible. I mean, it's just bad. And truly, the first book is just setting you up for the next two books, so it's not even really a story. It's like this little blip in time.
Right.
So I was telling them, I'm like, this movie is going to be so bad. Like, I was prepared for it to be like the worst, hands down worst movie I've ever seen. It was bad. Don't get me wrong. It's made
so much money though.
It was bad, but it wasn't as awful as I thought it was. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't as... Like, I just couldn't even imagine.
How is Dakota Fanning, Dakota Johnson? Like, I think she's so cute.
She's very cute. I will say that I liked, she made the Anastasia Steele character a little more likable. Like, she made her a little more fun, like kind of goofy, which I liked. I saw a lot of her nipples. It's like all her nipples.
I guess Melanie Griffith won't go see it. Well,
yeah,
I don't
blame
know.
her.
I don't think I could watch Jaybird do that. I just would go, I love
no,
you.
like,
Congratulations.
rock on, do your thing.
If that's really the movie you want to, like,
sink your teeth into here.
Yeah, but knock yourself out.
I wanted to feed her a sandwich the whole time. She's very skinny.
Is she?
Yeah. She just, like...
She doesn't strike me that way. Isn't that funny? I don't look at her
you
and
don't look at her and think, oh, God, you're starving. But I still wanted to be like, really? Just little Sammy.
Well, Jamie, is it Jamie Dornan?
Dornan.
He's not a big dude, though, is he?
No. Okay. The Traveler thought he was horrific in it. She thought he was so bad in it. I wanted Charlie Hunnam. That's what I wanted. I still want him in my own personal 50 Shades. Holy crap.
That's a whole... I don't know if the nation would have survived if he did it. You know what I mean? There's, like, I have to... It's so funny because I thought you might bring this up today because I have something to talk to you about after this about 50 Shades of Grey.
Holy balls. If he
this
had
nation
been...
might not have made it.
If he had been... in my head, he's Christian Grey. And I would have been... I mean, I would have had a hard time in that movie. I think that...
You would have had a hard time.
I think that Jamie Dornan is really a good-looking guy.
What else has he been in?
He was on Once Upon a Time. He was the sheriff.
The sheriff. That's right.
He's also... He's so cute. He's like a famous model. He did Calvin Klein ads and, like, he's been naked all over the place. And he's... I mean, he's beautiful. How did I miss this
since I had sex with Engel Mischnabel?
He also has, he's from Ireland or Scotland.
Oh, come on, don't fuck with the Scottish. Was he Irish or he's Scottish?
I want Scottish. He's Scottish. And he's got a great accent. And I watched him on Graham Norton, like doing this whole, which was a great episode. Watch him on Graham Norton when they eat a cake that is him as Christian Grey. It's really good. Yeah, Graham Norton, that was an excellent show. Your guests were hilarious. I mean, I died laughing. I love Graham Norton. He's got a fantastic accent, and he's got his beard, and I'm like, oh, well, now you can be my Christian. Because you're like a little rougher now. But
let's play Christians and Moors. You want to get rough? Let's do this.
But, I mean, he's
let's do
cute.
this crusade style. That's where I jump in. Like if you,
I wish he would have had the accent in the film. I mean, I know
he needed the accent in the film.
Well, because the accent's fucking hot. It is. I'm sorry, it's hot. And when he's talking,
but can you understand him? Would they have had to have subtitles for
maybe
like
if he like
beating
really
scenes?
Well,
like I'm going to spank you now.
His Christian Grey's speeches are all very like
robotic.
I can't do that. Like, everything is very... So I think he would have been okay with his accent. Like, I feel like I could have understood it. Even if I didn't, it would have been hot. So it's okay. But there was only one scene in the movie that I found to be like, oh, all right. That,
really?
That was
you got
nice.
a little feisty downstairs?
I thought, okay, Jamie, I'll let you prove yourself after this scene. And then he didn't. Sorry, but he didn't.
What was the scene that did it for you?
Well, it didn't do it for me. I just thought, yes, okay, if he does this the whole movie, like, this could not be
any
so
kind
awful.
of rise at all?
No.
At all?
No, not
There's
even
no
a little
labial.
bit.
There was no like labial action at all.
No. Oh, no, not even a little.
For any of you guys?
No. It just, there's one part where he says to her, if you were mine, you wouldn't be able to sit for a week. And then he crawls across the bed and bites her toast.
Her toast?
She's eating a piece of toast.
I thought that was code for something. No. Listen, you can't tell a woman in her pride. So some guy crawls across the bed and bites your toast. I'm like, what? What is toast?
That was hot.
That's like when somebody called you cake.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll be toast.
I'll be cake. You can buy my toast. That was the only one where I was like, yeah, that was hot. Okay. But the rest of it was like, I just didn't do it for me. Not that I expected it to.
So much money then?
Well, because the books. I mean, everybody went to see it.
I heard there was like nonstop fighting on the set. Is the word that like E.L. James and the female director, like they fought the entire time and back so much that she's getting out of her contract. And now Jamie Dornan is actually
he's not going to.
Don't think so?
He's contractually obligated to do the whole thing. But he did say that his wife was.
I'm sorry. Breaking news: Vin Diesel is expecting baby number 3. Oh, just thought I'd throw that out there.
Breaking news.
I thought I'd throw that in there for you. I have something for you.
I like Jamie Dornan. I do. Charlie Hunnam. He would have. I mean, I wouldn't have even had to see the movie, and I'd have been like, he was magnificent. I just want to see him naked all the time. And
he is beautiful. I can.
I know you
can't get my head around that he is English. You know, like it's weird when he breaks out his English accent.
I know, I like it.
And I always think that he looks like he's a little smelly.
That's why I kind of like him.
No, upstairs, downstairs, and around the bend.
Why? I'm not going to be around the bend very often, so I feel like that's okay. I just think he's so yummy. Like, that, yes, okay.
Then you're unlike lot of the 50 Shade viewers from this last week.
Well, that's because now everybody... Jamie Dornan's... He's super good looking. Like, I really, truly... His modeling pictures are like, oh, okay. But...
sometimes models can't. Well, sometimes models can't make the jump to acting,
right?
Because
I loved him in Once Upon a Time. Actually,
I loved him. I was bummed when they killed him.
Oh, it was too. I loved him in Once Upon a Time.
Well, he was yummy. Yeah, he's like, look at you.
I didn't love him in 50 Shades. Though I have to say,
he wasn't your choice. Like, it was funny because you said when they announced him, you were like, I'm out.
No, he's too. He almost looks all American to me. In other than he's got like brown hair instead of like blonde, but he's got that like good boy look, and I don't want somebody that wants to hang me from the rafters to be a good boy. You know what I mean? Like, I also don't want to be hung from the rafters, but I'm just saying.
Well, maybe you do. You don't know. Well, that's what they say. I have to tell you this though. I was reading this article this morning from the Washington Post. Sex toy injury surged after 50 Shades of Grey. Well, what I love. So they've had these people going into the emergency room, and I thought in honor of you getting out of the hospital, we should talk about this.
I wasn't in the hospital for any sex toy injury.
Oh, come on. Let me just...
Can you imagine?
Can I just infer that you were allegedly... Aaron had a sex toy.
Liz, come on up to New York for 2 weeks and be with me in the hospital.
What would you say to her? Like, I
wouldn't tell my mom I was in the hospital. I had a sex toy
I wouldn't have
injury.
been texting her. I would have been like, I don't know. She would have been like, how are you, Angela? Who is this?
I don't know this number.
Well, it's kind of thousands of Americans hurt themselves with sex toys each year. And so what I love is that, like, after people read the book and saw the movie, what's really funny is...
The movie just wasn't a sexy movie.
Well, I love that they said who's getting hurt and how. So demographics of all these individuals that have, like, went to the ER after reading or seeing the movie, they said the gender breakdown was 42% women and 58% men. Like, isn't it about him dominating her?
Well, yeah, in the movie, but some men I think that there's more men. I would think that there were more men submissives because in real life, in real life, like the BDSM isn't.
Look at you know all the code words.
Well, I forget what it all bondage, whatever all that stuff stands for. is not even really all about sex. Or like sex isn't always what happens with it. It's the domination part of it. And it tends to be a lot of men that have high powered positions or have whatever, that they need that release of not being
having
in
somebody
control.
paddle their bottom.
Well, I don't know that it's even. I think that some of the I could be completely wrong.
No. I think you have a really good take on this.
Some of the idea isn't like, it's not the sexual release, though. I'm sure that's what culminates. But
right.
I think it's more of the idea of like he even says it in the movie, which is not a good representation of the lifestyle.
He says it in the movie.
But he says it's about, you don't have to make the decisions. I'll make them for you. You know, and there's something about that. I mean, truly think about this, because in my real life, when I go out with my friends,
all the time. Well, wait a second, but like in your life, like you should explain to everyone, like the job that you do, the way that you look, you're always making the decisions. Right. You're always in the power seat. We
always have to.
You have to.
We're 16 steps ahead. Right. We've got all the theoretically, we've got all the answers. We make them up as they come along.
We sure hold them.
But so in my home life, when I go out with my friends and stuff, this is why I think my friends like me, is because I am the most easygoing, whatever. Right. Because I don't want. If one more person asks me what the fuck to do, I'm going to kill myself. Right. So the idea of being told. Right. Guess you're going to do this now. I'm like, yeah, all right. That sounds lovely. So I think that's what,
like sex though, like.
Well, I don't know, because I've never been a submissive or a dominant. I don't know. This just sounds like a lot to me. But I
sounds like a lot to do.
But I guess in sex in general, I would rather the other person be in control, because then I don't have to. Like there is something about.
I think there's a time and place for it. Like I just know from being
married
for a long time. No. Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking about like being married for a long time. It's like it certainly ebbs and flows. Who's in charge and who's not. Like Paul and I always joke, especially on vacation. Like we'll do rocks paper scissors. We'll say who's going to be the man, right. And we'll go rocks paper scissors and shoot. Best 2 out of 3.
But that's what
decide
I mean.
Who to go to dinner, how to go to dinner, whatever. Sometimes you just
want somebody else to make the decision. So, I think that's what part of that lifestyle is that the people that are being submissive, I think they really enjoy the fact that they don't have to make this decision. Well, it's not about, but they're still getting the satisfaction. You know, it's like
maybe this won't shock you so much. It kind of shocked me. They were talking about types of injury, and then they said. Foreign body removal is about 83%.
Foreign, like something
stuck in
inserted.
You. Right.
Well, yeah, but that happens in hospitals all the time.
Right, but they actually can see a surge, though, after the books were published and then after the movie came out. But what, I guess, all of that kind of stuff I can kind of reason through. The thing that shocked me was the age distribution of these people showing up at the
older?
Well, yeah, so like... But this is kind of grosses me out in a way. Not only older, but like closing in on fucking 60 years old. So it's like, so for women, it was like in the 30s. And as for guys, it was like in their 50s.
Do you think it's a bunch of housewives that were like...
I think it's a bunch of you. I think it's a bunch of you girls. I will blame you. You early, like you kiddos. That's coming from a woman who just slept with Engel Schmitzmarks. But
he's too young for me. So.
I know. Well, he's too young for me too, because I woke up sweating. So, Mommy doesn't like to exert herself. God, I hope I wasn't doing anything in front of my husband.
I hope you were. I hope you were.
How
still
awful!
Dying
and the
laughing.
dog was on the end of the bed. So if I was, everybody got to see. Hand check. But it's a bunch of like young women like yourself and old dudes who are like reliving, like having a midlife crisis going, yeah, I think you should put a butt plug in me.
Here's the thing though. I don't think it's my age group. I think it's younger than me.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what the Washington Post says.
I would think it's younger. Because I think...
No, you whores. It's all you.
What's the age group?
Early 30s.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That surprises me.
Yeah. Like they said, like out of 60 patients, it's like 29, 30, 31, 30. So it's like...
Because I feel like most of my girlfriends at this point...
Listen, you don't find any 50-year-old broads going, wow, you know what? I think I'm going to come home and batter a hammer right up your ass. It just...
but I'm surprised, like, because my girlfriends, like, when we talked about the movie and we were laughing about it...
And when you talk about sex.
Not, yeah, just in general. But when we were talking about this whole idea, it wasn't... Like, I get the, like, tie me up. Sure, I even get the spanking. I don't get the, like, riding crop, whatever. That's not really my
Saddle.
thing. And most of my girlfriends were like, yeah, count me out. I don't even want to try it. Like, okay, I'll try. I would say that some of my girlfriends, after reading the book, were like, oh, yeah, I'll try being tied up. Okay, that makes sense to me. But none of my girlfriends went to
put a saddle on me.
Yeah, or was like, oh, I wouldn't do it to somebody else. Like, to them, that was too much. That's why I feel like at this point, not that you aren't still learning what you like, but I feel like at this point, most of my friends are like,
okay,
I'm
but
good.
But somebody's doing it to somebody else who's older. Yeah. So in their defense of your group, so you guys might not want to have that harsher stuff, but then maybe you're going out with guys who you go, wow, you have a set of old balls, let me jam something in your butt.
I can't imagine saying to somebody, I really want to shove this right
like
up your
Mark
ass.
Ruffalo. I just respect him too much. Like, he's got the sweetest eyes. I don't think I could go over dinner. Mark, when we get home.
Yeah, but what about the guys, like, if we talk about Kate, let's talk about Katie Price for a second, how she was saying that
don't bring her up because I'm mad at her now.
Well, I'm not mad at her.
We're breaking up.
I like her still. But, so, Katie Price was saying
who just got remarried. She renewed her vows this weekend.
Good for her. I hope.
This weekend. So, congratulations, Katie Price.
But she was saying that her ex-husband liked all that stuff. And so she was doing it because he liked it. I don't know that I'm mature enough to have somebody say to me...
Yeah. I wish I was. I or open enough sexually to go, yeah, what a great thing. I don't.
I mean, I feel like I feel like I'm a good, like, I'll try things.
You're a team player.
Like, I'll try. But I really think if someone was like, I really just want you to cram this up there, that I would be like, I don't even know how to.
Where would you start?
Respond with this.
Like, I don't.
Like, I would just.
I'd start laughing. I don't. I wish that, like, some people are so sophisticated that none of that stuff is off limits, and they go.
Or even if it's off limits, that they wouldn't laugh. I would.
Right.
I'd wet my pants.
And good on you. I wouldn't say that I have, like. Do I judge it? I might, but I'll calm myself and then finally go, you know what? If it's between two consenting adults, whatever you want to do. But there are some things that I don't find sexy. Like, I can see why cross-dressing would appeal to some people, right. And it would be like, wow, the way this feels, and it's confining some places, and I'm in my wife's underpants. If I came home and my husband was doing, I wouldn't look at him the same way. It just, for me,
I don't know. If somebody said they wanted to wear my underpants, I would be like, yes, game on. This is hilarious.
What is that movie, Bull Durham?
It wouldn't be sexy to me. It just would be really fun.
Like, it makes me think of Bull Durham, but I just, not that I would knock that. I'd be like, okay, that's your thing. I don't know if I could participate in all of that. I just didn't go, okay, whatever.
I'm not mature enough. I would die laughing. It's like, there are certain things that have happened to me that I think, like, I specifically had a guy that I dated in college that said to me, he was like, you were the worst girl to have this happen to. And it wasn't even something creepy. We were in his room, and where the music was on in the background, it was like really light music, and all of a sudden it became like hardcore, like rap, like hardcore. Oh, no. And he looked at me, and
let's rape some white cops.
Yeah, he was like, you're the worst person that this could ever have happened to, because I lost it. I was like dying, and like truly up until probably.
Do you think we're prudes?
I don't think it was a prude thing. It was just that, like, to me, that's really I think that I laugh a lot. I think that you laugh a lot.
I laugh all the time. I laugh during sex, which is not a great thing.
Well, I like to find the humor.
It feels funny.
Things.
I mean,
or something funny happens. Like, I just can't control myself.
Right.
And most of the time, I'm laughing at myself.
Please, right.
So I think that if somebody asked me to do that, I couldn't not take it as a joke. I don't think I could. And then I'd feel horrible because I would be laughing and being like, I'm not laughing at you. But I am. But I'm not. It's not at you. Like,
because I'm laughing that I'm in this situation, and your penis inside me. That whole concept of having somebody's penis inside you, even after all these years, I still think it's funny. Like, it makes me laugh sometimes because it's just so insane that something.
It's like when you tell a kid for the first time and they're like, "You do what?"
Oh my god! It's like, I'm still traumatized from telling the girls. Like, they are. They're like, "Please don't draw a picture." Joe was like, "I saw the picture," and I was like, "Well, I was just trying to help you." And she goes, "No more pictures."
I didn't need it.
She's like, "Mom, I do art. I don't need you to do." And I was like, "Okay, fine."
I don't know, but so anyway, 50 Shades. I just thought, I will say that it wasn't as horribly, I mean, I thought it was going to be, like, I wouldn't be able to stay there the whole time it was going to be that bad.
Really?
I just, reading the book, and taking away the fact that it's poorly written, but just reading it, how do you make that a movie? Like, unless it's like pure porn, and in which case, I don't want to go to
not your scene anyway.
Yeah. But
I'm not going with my girlfriends to watch porn.
No. And, like, there wasn't even, like, I'm sitting there with my girlfriends, and it wasn't even, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. You know, like...
Where it should have been. Yeah. There should have been a point where you went, yikes, this is crossing the boundary.
But it wasn't like that, because they couldn't do that, or it wouldn't have been able to have been made at all. Right. It would have been straight up porn. But there was all kinds of... I don't know if you saw this. There are all kinds of petitions going around trying to get... trying to petition this movie saying that this is porn, and that this is domestic violence. And I just kept thinking, I feel like the people that are saying this have never read it.
Right.
And because it's not porn. The book is smut. 100%.
Right.
It's smut because there's a lot of sex scenes in the book.
Right.
But, and so I get that. You want to say that the books are erotica? Absolutely. I agree with you. Okay. I also think most romantic novels or whatever, there is a little bit of that because for women, that's how we process better is through, you know, like we don't need the movie, the book works for us.
Right.
And the men like
because it's a little bit more private and that
if that is your secret desire,
right, and it's also that secret desire and like being outed with that, women, even though as far as they've come, they're still not processing it on that level where...
It's still the difference to me of visual versus mental. Women are much more mental and men are much more visual. And so, okay, if you want to say the book is erotica, I'm down. I agree. I'll sign to that. Absolutely. I don't think it was porn. Like, to me, it's not porn. Porn is like very
I guess
specific...
you know it when you see it, like art. Yeah. You just... Because of the way it hits you when something's porn versus when it's not.
So and I'm thinking, okay, the movie can't be porn because it is, even though the ratings are crap half the time, it just can't be, they can't be showing the stuff that they're going to show. Like, we kept going, we're like, well, I wonder if they're going to show like full frontal nudity.
Of him.
Because even of her, it's not really full frontal, you know, whatever. They show, and I told my friend, I looked at Katie and I was like, I don't know about you, but like, full frontal, that close up of someone's penis on a huge screen.
Listen, you can barely take it in real life, let alone.
I'm
truly,
sorry. You know, that is just not an attractive body.
Even in real life, when the python is out, as wonderful or how connected you are to that, nobody wants to see that.
It's not like a woman's body is beautiful. Like, to me, is beautiful. Right. Now, would I want a full like gaping shot of someone's piao? No. So to me,
childbirth would be hot.
Yeah, like I don't want to see.
Right, I don't need to see somebody's tonsils.
Life-size, like coming at me on the screen.
Well, what if it was Mr. Who Knows? Who Moon.
I mean, I'd like to see him naked, sure, but I don't need him like 80 feet tall on the screen.
I don't know. I might.
No,
would I want to see?
That's
wait,
too,
can I
it's
wait
too
a second?
Much.
Can we go too much? Is it too much to think Ron Perlman naked? And I am so pissed at your mom.
He died in my dream last night.
He died.
Ron Perlman was in my dream last night and he died.
That's horrible. But your mother telling you, first of all, you weren't that sick if you could still complain about Ron Perlman in the hospital.
No, this is the best part.
Fucking bitch.
When we got home from the hospital, my mother stayed with me for a couple days.
I keep blowing my nose, but
she stayed with me, and so we were watching.
Because I am wounded.
No, we were wounded. We were catching up on TV shows that we missed for being in the hospital, and so she likes that show Blacklist.
Lousy, dirty whore.
She loves Blacklist. Yeah. So I put
You're
it on.
You're not going to make this okay.
No, I'm not trying to make it okay.
You should say you're sorry,
how funny
though.
It is. No, because I'm not.
Yes, you should be.
We turn it on, and he gets onto screen, and I'm like still in and out of consciousness, and I'm like,
wait, were you on Dilaudid at that time or no?
I was at home on regular pain meds.
I'd like some pain meds and Ron Perlman.
Well, so I'm laying on the couch like asleep, like half asleep because I've never watched Blacklist.
If anybody's listening right now, you should turn off and just let her blab for the next 5 minutes. This is how cruel her mother is.
My mom
this
watches
is Aaron's
it,
childhood.
And she looks at me and she goes, "Who is that guy?" And I said,
when you told me that, I was like, she likes him like I do. Okay.
His name is Ron Perlman. I said, Angela has a big crush on him. Ugh. Okay, that's all I said. And she goes, he looks like a shriveled penis. And I laughed so hard it hurt. I was like, oh my God.
Good. I hope your kidney fell out.
I was like,
good.
Liz, Angela would die if she heard you say that. I said,
I
I keep saying he looks like a thumb, but
oh, that's so mean. That is so mean. Like, you know, I just have to tell you that while you were so sick, your mom and I had like a breakthrough in our relationship, and we're texting back and forth and being girlfriends, and then to hear that betrayal on the heels of you being
I tried to get her to text you. I was like, please text Angela that you think he looks like a shriveled penis, please.
Oh God, and my ass hurts so much right now. I'm just saying that, like, I'm disappointed in you, Liz, and I'm disappointed in you. And
you can't
I'm
be
not
disappointed in me.
him.
I have never.
I'm disappointed in Ron Perlman.
I have never held back that I don't think that he's attractive. I like him, and as Hellboy, I get it as Hellboy.
Just, you can't wear makeup and a prosthetic to gymboree class, if you want to call it that.
Listen. I would just be more game on if he did.
I'm just so hurt. I can't even believe it. I'm just saying that I would like to see him on an 80-foot screen with his penis hanging out.
I don't think you would.
I think he'd have a lot of snow in his pipe.
It's just too much penis. Like this, it's just not.
Is there such a thing as too much penis?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like that big on the screen is not like. Like I wouldn't do it for
in
me.
high def.
Well, they do show like this one point. This
Did
one
you
part.
see a lot of Jamie Bush?
No, he's not bushy. He's respectful.
Is he?
Yeah.
See, like, I think Perlman is not respectful at all. Like, I think it's hanging out of his underpants.
Jamie was well manicured.
Can you imagine if you're the hair makeup person that has to do that?
Yeah, I think it would be hilarious. This is why I don't do this kind of stuff.
Jesus.
But they showed like
this is why I can't do that in at least 4 states.
They show it in the front of his pants like being unbuttoned, so it's like starting to show, and it's like the very top. And my girlfriends and I
is his Woody or his
like
his
the
boucher?
top of like more of his
peni?
Yeah, like I don't even know how
he's not circumcised.
I wish they would have shown it then. What the hell?
That's what I was thinking. I hope they show Aaron uncircumcised penis, and it's like 8 feet high.
No, but they show the front, and that was the only time that my girlfriends and I were all like, like
even that was too much for you. So maybe I'm more of a woman than you are. That I can handle.
Just the like. I don't want to see that sitting next to my
you saw Vane?
You saw, like, I don't even know how to describe it. You have to just see it.
I don't want to be traumatized by the movie.
Anybody that saw the movie knows exactly the part I'm talking about. There's just, like, this little, like, flash where you're like, oh. And all I can think is, like, that to me is private time. I don't need my girlfriend sitting next to me because we're going to go have, like, Shake Shack after this, and I don't want to be thinking about...
I can't get the milkshake down
the
if I have to get the milkshake down.
It just was...
Jesus Christ. I don't ever want to see a movie like that.
And that was all I really needed to see of him that way, because truly, that was enough. Like, I have enough of a mental image. They show his butt a lot, and he's got a great butt. He really does. But probably in real life, he's got little, like, UK cracker cheeks? Butt. You know what I mean? Pasty cracker butt. I don't think so. He had a nice...
Was it furry?
No. Smooth as a baby's bottom. I still would rather have seen Charlie
sandwich hair. No sandwich hair.
No.
Did he bend over at any time? No. To see the starfish?
No, I had to stop and think. I was like, did he?
See, we're looking for totally different things as a movie.
You want to see some of his anus on the big screen?
Well, listen, if I'm going to pay $15 fucking for a movie, I'd like to see some starfish, like his, not her. No. Just like in between popcorn.
You would not. You're such a liar. You would have a fucking stroke. Do you know that some woman got arrested for having happy time during that movie?
Well, how about the woman who did it on the hood of someone's car? Like, you can't control yourself. She got arrested for... Notice these are all dingy broads. She started masturbating herself in traffic, like on the hood of someo's car. Like, I can't wait to get home.
Walked out of the movie theater and did it? Like, just threw herself on the nearest Cadillac.
The Buick. Like, is this a Buick? Is this a Buick or an Oldsmobile? Because I like Buicks, but what the fuck?
What is wrong with people?
I can't spend any more time.
Can you really not control yourself that much?
Well, obviously I can't in the middle of the night with... Angle schmangle
but you're in your house. Good for you. Rock on.
Fucking in front of the dog. I saw an amazing movie last night. Amazing. It was called Citizen4. It won the Academy Award for Best Documentary. Do you know anything about it?
Mm-mm.
Probably going to be on a watch list after this. But every single thing I've ever told
You're already on a
on so many. Like after I watched this,
child porn.
I was like,
Anarchist.
Yeah, it's like after I watched this movie, because it's about Edward Snowden, and after I watched it, I was like, fuck, there's no way that I'm not on a watch list. There's just no way. And probably the United States government is like listening to Take It to Two, no doubt. Probably building a case.
Who isn't, really? Who isn't listening to Take It to Two?
And so I was like, oh my God, everything that I ever told Aaron about like privacy and hack, it will scare the shit out of you. And it happens in real, I don't know if anyone knows about the movie, but it happens in real time as he was like exposing these things. Like he leaves his girlfriend of 10 years behind, doesn't tell him where she's going, leaves the NSA, goes to Hong Kong and meets up with this filmmaker and this writer. And it happens in real time as they're releasing bits of this information. And I gotta say, you'll be just mortified at like the advantage the American public is being taken advantage of. And how much the UK government is the biggest purveyor of software that collects this metadata and what they do with it. And, you know, at first I used to be like, well, why would you worry about that stuff if you're not guilty of anything? Totally look at it a different way. Totally look at this Edward Snowden in a completely different way. He's not 100% innocent, but I didn't get like how fucking young he was. Like he just, by the time you see him interviewed, like really interviewed in real time, you don't get like what a kid he is. He was only like 28 or 29 when this was first going on. It's really tragic. You leave it, and it's the most unsettling film that I've seen in such a long time. But I have to say, 100%, it should be required viewing for everyone. Citizen 4, it's on HBO, on HBO to go. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. And you just won't ever look at just the United States, other countries, what they do with this information. You know, it's like a classic case of the tail wagging the dog. And it's like we've lost our ability, of us electing officials and having them do what's in our best interest versus they're just choosing what they're doing now. Yeah. It's one of the scariest fucking films I've ever seen. Yeah, isn't that serious? There you go.
Well,
well, there you go.
I don't know. I'll have to watch it. I don't know that I'll be able to.
It's I can see like last night I was going, okay, who do I tell about this movie? Because I was like, who would it upset more, my friends or my sister? So I thought, I'll get my dingy sister. So I called Teresa and I was like, you got to watch this. She was calling me at like 11:30 last night going, what the fuck? And I was like, I know. And she goes, I don't know how to, like, she goes, how do I unring this bell after I've seen this? And I go, you'll never look at any of that stuff the same way again. How news reports.
I don't know. There's something about being blissfully ignorant.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, truly. I think there's so much that goes on that I have I'm not privy to, and some of it I'm really okay with.
And you know what's really weird is that I remember when this was going on, and I was kind of sort of okay with it because, you know, like you found out that he was in Russia, and I was like, oh my God, he's in cahoots with the Russians, of course. Like he's a spy, basically. And when you find out like how he got to Russia, how the United States pulled his passport so he was stuck in Russia, you just know Russia had their hand in it, the United States had their hand in it. You just see like this big global conspiracy. It's just fucking scary. And you're like, wow, things aren't what it says on the news. Because I remember just being kind of apathetic, maybe. Like I was upset by it, but going more against like, why would somebody do that? You know, he put all these people in danger. And it was so much more than that. It was scary. It's one of the scariest things I've seen out there. And I was surprised that it won an Academy Award because it's such a hot topic. Yeah. Yeah. But it was great.
Oh, I'll have to watch it. Did you watch the Academy Awards?
I can't.
I couldn't either. I didn't watch it.
I can't stomach it. It's like, it reminds me of the worst parts of high school. Yeah. Like, we're just going to clap for ourselves and the people who get their picture in the yearbook. And I saw some clips, like I saw when Michael Keaton didn't win and they put his acceptance speech back in his pocket. Aw. They had this gift.
That makes me sad. I like Michael Keaton.
And did you see that movie?
No, not yet.
Well, because you've been sick.
My mom saw it and loved it.
Over the last course of a few weeks, like when I was out of town doing that job, I just started watching all these nominated movies. Birdman is insane.
I heard it was really good.
It's so neurotic. I didn't know if I thought there's no way that they'll give it to him because it's so neurotic. Because it's just like that chatter you have in your head all the time. And to know someone wrote that movie where English is not their first language floored me.
Really?
Because it's just that classic New York stage neuroses.
Yeah.
You know, and everything's chatty and everything's weird and everything's inappropriate and nobody says anything about people's kooky behavior. And it's like, it's like the worst part of filmmaking, the worst part of like theater all mashed together.
Lots
and you
of crazy.
leave it and you go, holy crap. Like there's a scene where Ed Norton is this kooky actor and they're like measuring him. And like Michael Keaton's daughter, Emma Stone, who's darling. She's got these big eyes, looks like a painting throughout the whole thing. And she's like talking to this very famous stage actor, Ed Norton. And he just drops his pants, but he's not wearing underwear. So he's like standing there like this. And I thought, how many times have we been in that, like a fitting with the actor who you go, what the really, dude? Like, dude, put your slong away.
Yeah.
None of us are interested.
Right.
None of us.
Well, I just, the Academy Awards to me is like, this is like an award show that people buy. It's like a bought award, you know, and I feel like all the other awards are so, well, not all of them, but a lot of them are so much more like, these are our community voting for this, and I think that's interesting. I think the only interesting thing about the actors, or about the Oscars at this point, is all of the fashion. It's really become a fashion show, which is why I feel like that whole thing about not including Joan Rivers
was such a big deal.
Was such a slap, because
lots of people did.
I understand that they can't put everybody in. Like, I really do.
And she wasn't an actor.
And she wasn't, well, she was, but she wasn't noted for her.
Well, she wasn't like in features. You know, she's a
comedian. She was in The Muppets.
Oh, shit. Put her in the Academy Awards.
She was in with Miss Piggy. Come on.
I know.
But no, she wasn't known as an actor. That's fine. Right. I mean, I get that. But she started that whole thing about what are you wearing. Yeah, she like single-handedly made that such a big fashion moment that it seems kind of horrible.
Yeah. I think it's kind of self-serving. I'm trying to think, I saw the theory of everything that with Eddie Redmayne, who is brilliant. Didn't think he would win an Academy Award for that. I thought Michael Keaton might. Steve Carell, even though he was so far out in Foxcatcher, but he was so good in that movie. Yeah. The one that surprised me the most, though, was Patricia Arquette.
And for Boyhood.
I was just surprised. I just thought they're not going to give it to... She's a little, she's not classically Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I don't know. She didn't seem like she's really vying for it or campaigning to get it, which there's always this push that you see people do. And I thought, there's no way. And then when she got up there and started talking about women and equal rights and, like, we've given birth to every legislator in the country. And I was like...
There's been big backlash for that, though.
I'm shocked.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised
because
that there's
nobody does that kind of stuff anymore. It was huge in the 70s and the 80s. And then it got very PC where, like, nobody was saying anything. And then it became this thing about African Americans could say something, but nobody else. Yeah. But, women still... I got to say the backlash as a feminist, and I am... has to do with women are not equal to men. And that is nothing more apparent than in that backlash towards her, with her getting up and saying something.
Well, there was a big backlash about, like, they were saying that African-American women and the LGBT were upset about it.
Because she called them out.
Well, and I thought... Wait a second. All I'm here now. I mean, I didn't see it live, so I've seen the clips and stuff.
Well, she called them out. She said, "Listen, we've stood by you.
Right? That's
why
what I
aren't
thought.
you standing by us?"
Wait a second. All she's saying is there are other fights than this fight, than your fight. Right. Not that your fight's not important.
Right.
Not that I'm not behind your fight. But
how
about you back me up on this?
I think that people are pissed because she dared, as a woman, to say that, and in that moment. I thought it was one of the more brave things that I've ever seen anybody do. It's tough. Women, especially of that age in Hollywood, and then God damn her for like saying, guess what? We should be paid equally.
I thought it was pretty cool. And then what was the other, Stacey, what's her name? Stacey Dash, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the one that was in Clueless?
Kook. Yes. That kook. Yes, I said Stacey Dash, you're a kook.
She had a little, she is a kook. She said, but she's beautiful. She said back, she was like, I don't know about you, but I thought I had the same rights. And I thought, wow.
Okay, she's the one that goes on.
Then you're dumb.
No, but she's also the one that goes on Fox News all the time and bashes other African Americans, bashes other women. And it's like, okay, you and Sarah Palin. Okay, so you might have this career that's been untouched by sexism. would shock me. Then why aren't you still acting?
Right.
Because you're a woman of a certain age and a certain color. Like, you're not telling me that Black women are still represented in any way in the film industry.
I was shocked that people were so outraged by what she said, and I thought the worst part to me is that it's women that are doing it. It's not
right.
This like the men
does not surprise me though. It
doesn't me either.
It doesn't surprise me because when I read what she said, I went, "Holy shit!" They're going to come out of the woodwork now, because I can't, like trying to explain that concept to Paul. He's like, well, women are doing better. I'm like, Paul, you can't even discuss this because it's so down deep across the board, across the world, and here in the United States. Yeah, we're doing better. But it's when you have women saying, I don't want to be called a feminist because of the negative connotations, where feminism in its essence is just equal treatment under the law, equal pay for what you're doing. That's the core. And I said, some 20-something is going to say she's embarrassed to tell me that she's a feminist because she thinks it might make her look like a lesbian or hardcore or whatever. We're talking about equal pay.
Right.
Where women are still not making, they make like 18 to 20% less than man as soon as they graduate from college.
76 cents to the dollar, right?
But they're making that right out of college when more women are graduating college than men.
Yeah.
And by the time that discrepancy is already on record, it just gets larger and larger and larger.
I know. It's pretty amazing, but I did think it was interesting that she called it out, because I thought, when I think about it, I'm a supporter. I feel like I support LGBT. I support it shouldn't be about color. Like, I'm all about that. I agree. And then I think, wait a second. Let's talk about this for a minute. And then you get into,
it's one of the last bastions of
girls like Emma Watson, who's all big into the like women having voices and equal whatever. And did you see that Steve Carell wore cufflinks to the Oscars that were in support of that, and how she was so cute about how much she loved him?
Yeah, I love that.
And I thought,
how can he not? I think he's got a wife, and he came from a woman's vagina. Like, that's the thing that gets me when Patricia Arquette said that. She's like, we've given birth to every legislator in this country, every person who has the right to vote. And when you think of it that way, it's like it would be disrespectful to me as a woman. Not that saying that having children is the only thing, but I have a life force in me that that continues on, right? The potential for a life force.
Right.
That it is my responsibility as a woman to back other groups that are oppressed. I do. I look at it that way. I look at it like, you know what? If somebody's being harmed, they have a life force. I am present in that life force. I better fucking have their back. LGBT, you know how I stand on that.
Yeah.
I better have your back. But at the same time, there comes a point where it's like, you know what? It'd be really nice for you to stand up for your mother, your sisters, your children, your aunts, your aunts who become uncles, whatever. You know what I mean?
Do you think that, like the legislators, when they're going through this and are essentially taking away our rights, do you think that they're not thinking about their mom or their wife, or because I feel like so many of them must be thinking of the greater, like the outside population versus like, well, this is not my wife wouldn't have to do this.
Well, I think that it's easy
my daughter wouldn't have
step
that.
away and then look at the sheer numbers. Like, you go, okay, how many women are in the workforce? If we were to give them equal pay, I don't think they make it a priority.
Yeah.
I don't think it even occurs to, and even my husband, who's very pro women, I don't think it occurs to him, probably your dad, that like he works in a field where there are other female attorneys, and like if he's not directly touched by it.
Yeah.
He sees it when I feel affected by it, or his children will be affected by it.
Right.
Or if I'm talking to the girls about, like, just so you know, even though you have these rights here, you don't have that in that other country.
Right.
And this is how, and those women still don't have education, and they still are getting parts of their body lopped off in Africa or the Middle East.
I was just going to say, I wanted to say for Patricia Arquette, when she was talking about, we're fighting for rights in other countries, but there's still problems here. I wanted to be like, yeah, Bono, let's bring it up.
I still have my,
damn it, Bono.
I don't know, as evident as this morning, Mommy still has her clitoris. Yeah. Let's start with there.
I wanted to be like, that's right. That's right, Bono. Focus on your own town.
Okay, we have to put feminism, aside, we have to put racism, sexism. What the fuck happened with Juliana Rancic and Kelly Osbourne and Zendaya? What the fuck?
I don't understand what happened.
Let's discuss.
So my understanding is
okay, they're on that stupid
Zendaya.
They're on that retarded show. Can I say retarded? Is that not PC?
It's not PC, but you can say it.
Okay, on a show which was led by a comedian, Joan Rivers, led by another comedian, Kathy Griffin, and Zendaya shows up in this beautiful dress with dreadlocks. And the comment is, Juliana Rancic says, the hair is overwhelming to her. She's so petite. See those dreadlocks? It makes me think she smells like patchouli oil. Everybody kind of laughs.
And weed.
Well, she says patchouli oil first.
Right, okay.
They just kind of laughing. Or she goes, or weed. And then the Kathy Griffin says something like, well, weed is legal now. And she goes, oh, yeah, it's very legal. But she makes me think she'd smell like weed. Okay. And Kelly Osbourne kind of laughs, but doesn't go, oh, damn, that was racist. That's my friend. She waits till they're off air and then goes, that was the most fucking racist thing I've ever heard. If she doesn't apologize, I'm going to quit. Or, there's shit to be paid. Then Zendaya is like, yeah, that was incredible. She's a young girl. She's like 18, 19 maybe?
Yeah, I think
she's young.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And she's like, listen, I was wearing natural hair. And like for you to say something like that was totally racist. Did it smack me, white woman of the century, that it was racist at the time? No, because the thought that came through my mind was like, well, you look like that hair was so overwhelming. I was like, that's just not the most flattering look for her.
Right.
Did I think that was racist if I was thinking that was not the most flattering look for her? No, I would have liked to have seen it up. I don't know if those are her real locks or not, but I would have liked to have seen her hair up because I think it took away from the dress.
Right.
Does that make me racist?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because I think...
Because patchouli made me think of hippie.
Right.
Weed made me think of hippie.
Right.
I guess it would have...
maybe
Rastafarian. But they weren't dreadlocks. They were like braided.
Juliana Rancic annoys the hell out of me to begin with. I think she looks like a light bulb. But...
and she allegedly needs to eat a sandwich, as you say.
She does. Holy crap. But
makes me sad.
Right. But
she might not be getting all the oxygen to her brain.
Well, her head's huge.
That's a big pull.
I will say in her defense, I wouldn't have known that would be considered racist because I wouldn't have thought it as because you're black and have dreadlocks that you smell like weed. It's the dread. I mean, I know a lot of white people that have dreadlocks
and they smell like weed.
And there's nothing wrong. That's not even a judgment to me. That's like if I saw a bunch of people in a bunch of Grateful Dead shirts, I'd be like, oh, well, there you go.
Who's going to do some acid dancing? Yeah, let's do some acid dancing.
So I can understand somebody saying, that could be considered. And her saying back, like, oh, I'm really sorry. That's not what I meant.
Right, but like now, did you hear her apology? It's like such a fucking, like, she did it on air.
She has to. And
wait a second, from a woman who doesn't ever want to apologize? No, Joan Rivers never apologized.
No, I'm saying she has to because of this backlash. Joan Rivers didn't apologize, but Joan Rivers also gets the benefit of she was 9,000 years old and she doesn't have to do what she does. It's like when my dad says,
she's a comedian. Well, I think also that she was a comedian.
But even, they made the reference that she, that even comedians don't cross this line. And I was like, well,
come on.
Time out.
Well, and Kelly Osbourne, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That whole show, including comments that she's made, is on the back of every woman and every man out there, especially women, judging weight, class, taste. You're going to hurt somebody's feelings at some time and say something.
Right.
So, when she said, I'm going to quit over it, I was going, please. Please.
Well, all I can think is, like, really, that's... This all goes back to my problem of we've become way too sensitive on everything, where it's like, I can't say anything without somebody saying, hey, this is... Like, here's another example.
What about Sean Penn's... Oh, I was going to say, what about Sean Penn's comment to the director of Birdman?
That he got his green card or something? I think that's funny.
What the fuck, man?
And I do think that sometimes you say things to your friends because I guess was friendly with...
Well, they were in 20... He directed him in 21 Grams.
Yeah, they're good friends. You say things to your friends that you just don't even...
I know, but I guess my issue with it you know, because my husband's Cuban, my children are half Spanish, whatever, or half Cuban. I was a little, and I'm a big idiot. I say horrible things to people all the time.
I didn't see it, so I can't
I say horrible things. I cringed for their friendship because it was just a moment in time. I thought it took away from it being about his friend.
Okay.
And his moment. His moment of like, he did this amazing screenplay. He's this amazing director. It just wasn't a moment that you should have been telling jokes at all because it was your friend's fucking time in the sun. Like if you won an Academy Award, do you think I'd go, and welcome Double D? Or, you know, ha ha ha, let's talk about 50 Shades. I wouldn't, there would be nothing. It'd be like, I'm so honored I cannot believe it. My good friend. I might have not even said my good friend. I would have said the director's name. Yeah. I would have said, and the award goes to Aaron Gillette. And then I would have whispered in your ear, how'd you get your green card?
Yeah. But I still think that people are just so sensitive about things. It's like there was, I don't remember what award show it was, but Zach Braff made a comment about, I want to say Pharrell. It was either Pharrell or will.i.am had on some weirdo outfit. And he goes, it looks like my costume from Oz. And he was a flying monkey in Oz. And everybody went off the rails about like, oh, you're saying this black man looks like a monkey. And I thought,
well, that's kind of a stretch.
I thought, wait a second. He meant the little vest and bellhop hat that the guy had on. And you guys made it this way. And
it's not like when Howard Cosell said, and that guy is like a little monkey running down, you know, that you could go, okay, that was racist.
Well, you know what made me think, and it actually made me really upset for a little while when that happened, was you and I were talking about, on one of these episodes, we were talking about
I say something
Kim
smart?
Kardashian and Kanye West's little girl, Northwest. And we were saying how sad she looks and whatever. And we were saying that she's a hairy little kid. And you and I were talking about, you called Juliet a hairy little monkey. And I made the comment, I was like, she looks like a little hairy little monkey. And I meant it the same way of Juliet. And that when that whole thing happened, I thought, oh my God. That sounds like I was being...
Did you feel like apologizing?
No, I felt...
But you felt like you offended...
I'm not going to apologize.
You felt like you offended someone.
Right, because that was so not the way...
Isn't that funny? That didn't even... I didn't even make the connection because I was here looking at you.
Right.
It was in the vein of... Right. We were talking about Juliet. And that's how you and
I talk. Like, Juliet is a hairy little monkey baby. Right. My little sister was a hairy little monkey baby. Like, that's...
Right.
That whole thing with Zach Braff, and then he responded and he was like, he said, I'm really sorry. I meant it in the costume. I wouldn't have meant it this way. And I thought, God,
what did Pharrell or those guys say? Anything?
I don't even know that they made a comment about it. It was like everybody else made a big deal. And I thought, wait a second. Why have we gotten to the point now where I can't say that your hair reminds me of patchouli oil when, I'm sorry, you see a girl in a long skirt with like Birkenstocks and a Grateful Dead t-shirt, and you telling me you don't think she smokes pot or smells like patchouli? I told you that Jay Bird smelled like Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? It's like, does that mean any one of those groups that were down there for Occupy Wall Street? No, because she smelled like...
she smelled like she hadn't showered. Yeah. But it just, to me, it's like, now we're getting... I thought Zendaya, she wrote this little response about, like, you know, this made me uncomfortable.
Because it was natural hair,
I thought, that's fair. You're allowed to have this reaction.
You know who
I don't like is the whole, like, wow,
Kelly Osbourne, like, throwing her weight around.
You've just insulted every black person in the world.
Kelly Osbourne, I think, made it a bigger issue where she could have, if she really had a problem with it, right then and there, she should have said, I gotta say, that last comment
sounds great.
Sounds like you're crossing the line. Because and we're talking about a woman's natural hair. She didn't give Juliana Rancic a moment to, like, I've said retarded things on here. You know that I've said, well, I've just said retarded again. But like when I said Donnie Tam had a little woo-woo, did I mean his penis? I was talking about his boobs because you saw me that.
Yeah.
But you made me clarify it because it sounded like I had said this thing. What I thought was disloyal, she knows this woman. There's no reason for me to think Juliana Rancic has, like, voted for the KKK.
Right.
But there was a moment to go, you know, Juliana, I just want to clarify something because you said something and I think that I took it that way. So if I took it that way, there are going to be people who take it the same way. You're talking about an African-American woman's hair in its natural state. And it sounded a tad racist to me. And then Juliana Rancic would have said, holy shit, I didn't... Right then and there. And it could have just been there. And it would have been like, wow, the honorable thing to do for your friend Zendaya. and the honorable thing to do for your coworker.
And if you're really trying to make a difference, it's a teaching moment. It's
absolutely.
You know, like there are definitely times where I think that people like what did that one what is she news announcer that said Lady Gaga was jigaboo music. And her co-host happened to be black
also.
Yeah, and he would like gave her this look of like, holy shit, did you really just say that? And I thought, okay. Jigaboo would never have come out of my mouth. I've never heard that term before.
You had never heard that term?
I've never heard that term.
Horrible.
But hearing it, I know what it means. I didn't even have to be told. Like, hearing somebody say that word, I can guess what it would have meant. Even if nobody had said to me, like, do you know why this is racist?
But be brave enough in the moment to call someone on it.
Well, but I did feel bad for her because she looks like she's 12. I don't know how old the girl was that she said. And I thought, you know, I think that there's a lot of times where we've used words that we didn't know what they meant. But I do think that was one of those, like, somebody should have said to her, including her producer, been like, that's a really horribly racist term. You need to
straighten that out
apologize right now. Because she could have been like, holy shit, I completely stepped in it. I'm sorry. I'm saying that now. I'm so embarrassed.
I think people now, we're in an age where things happen so quickly and goes on to air and it's tweeted and it's this and that. I think that people are just fed up with, well, I don't have to take racism all the time and have it smashed in my face. I don't have to take you know what I mean? And in some ways that's great, but in some ways it's also like, if we're going to call people out on shit like that, give them the chance before you crucify them to make it okay.
Right.
Like, you know, for people who are watching that, and you immediately make it about the fight instead of about what was said and
because even now, even us discussing this, to me, I'm more upset that she got called out for it than the fact that she said it. Again, I'm a white woman.
You'd also never heard the term. You'd also never.
Jacob, but I mean Juliana Rancic.
Well, like it was. Well, and it's also funny. It's like I'd never known that like moulignon, like in Italian is eggplant. Like I'd never heard it used as a negative derogatory thing towards African Americans until I came to New York City.
Yeah,
because I'd be like, oh, what is that? And I would say moulignon to Paul, and Paul would go, Angela, what did you just say? And I'd be like, I'm just talking about the dish. And he'd be like, you can't use that here. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm just talking about the vegetable. And he'd be like, here,
this is
it's a derogatory term. And I'd be like, okay,
so you got to teach, but this whole thing, I'm just saying is that to me, it doesn't make me feel like this is about race. What you're doing is making me change. You're scrubbing my language to become some generic whatever.
Let me ask you something.
I didn't say anything.
Would you be willing, you know, a friend of ours, and I think I can give her name, Colleen Turner, has a new
I
YouTube
love her
page.
YouTube stuff.
Yeah, she has a new YouTube page.
She's beautiful.
Well, she's fucking the most gorgeous thing ever. I'd love to invite her on the show and talk about this because it'd be interesting for a...
was she 24?
Yeah,
she's 12.
She's 12 years old and has her own YouTube page, but she talks about the concept of black women going back to natural hair states and how to attain certain looks. And it would be interesting to hear her take, one, for her age in that bracket, also for an advocate of natural hair design, also as a black woman in the United States. I'd like to hear her take on it. And she works in an almost all white environment.
All white male industry.
Yeah. Well, but it'd be interesting. Do you want to do that? Like,
sure,
have her on
I'd love
and
to have her on. I think there's so much of like, I'm all for like, ignorance is not okay. Like, I get it.
Well, it's not a defense. It's not a defense.
But at the same time, now we're getting to like, everything is a big deal. It's the same thing with some feminism.
It's the self-righteousness that I don't like. It's like, it's fine to want to correct somebody and say, holy shit, you just did something wrong. That's fine. But at least use it as a moment to go, let's change this.
Do you think that was wrong? What she said was wrong?
I absolutely do think she was wrong. I'm offended by it. Like, her to compare, because that is such a derogatory term. To me, it would be like her saying, and it was nigger music.
No, I'm not talking, not jigaboo.
Jigaboo,
no.
I was like, that was bad.
That was wrong.
Okay. Oh, you mean Juliana Rancic?
Even if you didn't know what the word meant when you found
Juliana
out.
Rancic?
Yes, Juliana Rancic.
No, I thought it was kind of a funny... I didn't go to her hair or it being because she was a black woman.
It went to race right away. And to me, it was about a hairstyle.
But in her defense, and even like, is Kelly Osbourne around your age? She's
I
28,
think she's
29.
younger than me. Yeah.
28, 29. But like your guys are around swimming in the same pool.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, you're swimming.
I would consider her younger than me, but
Okay.
I don't know if that's because I grew up watching her on TV.
Yeah,
And she was like 4.
I feel like you guys are around the same age. There is a thing that sometimes I have to step back and go, there is a new generation that they see things in a quicker way and a reference in a quicker way that my generation doesn't. Not like I'm old as dirt, but that they see racism where it does exist, and they'll cry foul on it before. Or cry, this is wrong, before, let's say, I would.
Right.
I don't know if I'm a great barometer to say, was that racist or not? Because I didn't go there. But my daughter, who's 16, my oldest one, said, that is so incredibly racist. We were just watching it, and she said it, and she called it.
I think
and I go, what are you talking about? She goes, Mom, that was a total slight on her dreads. And it was even before any of it came out.
Yeah.
Because we had been watching the show, and I was like, no, she's talking about patchouli like her being a hippie. And Genevieve was like, kind of laughed about it. She was 11.
Yeah.
Was like, okay, Mom. And I was like, no, it's about her being a hippie. Never thinking that it was going to really become, because in the moment, I didn't see it.
See,
Doesn't mean it's not.
Right.
But at the same time, what I'm pissed off about is that people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. If you're working someplace, if you have the public's eye, if you have their ear, you have a moral imperative right then and there. It's great to go to Twitter and say, I got your back, Zendaya. It's all about racism. You have a moral imperative right then and there. Because if it was easy, everybody would fucking be doing it. She had a moral imperative right then and there to be brave enough to go to Kathy Griffin, who was laughing about it, and to go to Juliana Rancic and give her the opportunity to either clarify it or to sink her ship.
Right.
You know?
Well, I guess...
And it would have made a better show. It would have made a better show, but also you have a bunch of people are watching. Be woman enough to say, we got to stop right there. You got to clarify that last statement, because to me, it sounds like this. And also, when you've made your entire living basically off of critiquing how other people look.
Right.
I'm just saying, you got to think about that. You got to think about that.
I see what you're saying, and I do think that there's a generation.
It doesn't strike me as being racist, because I immediately went to something else.
I mean, I get how it could be racist.
Right.
It's not that I don't understand that. It's just that I did.
It took me a little bit to like wrap my head around it.
Well, I get it now that everybody's made a big deal about it. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. It could be, but to me, dreadlocks are not just for African American people. I'm sorry, they're not. There's a huge demographic of white people that have them too. Right. So now are you going to come back to me and say that now we've stolen this hairstyle, and so we don't get to be upset? Like,
well, that's what I mean.
I don't understand. I don't understand. The
behavior that I question the most is not Zendaya's. I thought she was eloquent,
right?
And
she has
smart,
every right to say that it was offensive. Right. Absolutely.
Kelly Osbourne, as her friend, and then as a professional working woman, had the backbone to call somebody out right then and there.
Right.
Like, good on you for wanting to protect your friend.
Or to say after, like, okay, sometimes shit happens and you don't have the chance to do it. But when you got off the show, then you should have said to your friend, you should know how racist this sounded. Right.
But then to go to Twitter or to go to any other third party and not do it either on air or to her face.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I'm getting very upset about the fact that everything has to be so fucking PC when I'm going, you know what?
Let's have Colleen on.
I think there can't, we have to be careful in saying that you don't get to say, that's not how I meant it. Like, because then everybody would just say that. Well, but there is definitely.
But when you also say, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. So it's like,
well, that's what I learned in therapy. I'm sorry you're sorry. Or I'm sorry you feel that way. I feel like that's an appropriate response from Juliana Rancic to say, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not what I meant. I would never have said it if it was meant that way. I think it became this bigger
issue because she wasn't given the opportunity. And I'm not like this Juliana Rancic amazing fan. I just think that, like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Right. Sometimes I say dumb shit on the air and it gets out there and I go, oh, wow, that's not what I meant.
I'm sad that she had to make this apology because I just think that, like, I think the correct apology would have been, I'm sorry what I said was taken different than what I meant.
My intent.
I didn't mean it that way. So
But if
I
you start
apologize for
apologizing,
that.
yeah, but if
But
you
it-
start
now we're getting-
apologizing in a show where it's about critiquing other people,
We're getting
then
into
it's like,
we're getting into what I say. If I'm
Yeah.
not apologizing, I'm sorry if it was taken out of context, or maybe I did say something horrible and I didn't know it was horrible. Now you've told me it's horrible. I won't do it again. But
Right.
I'm not going to apologize for
Right.
the first time that I did it because I didn't know. That's
Right.
ridiculous. Like
Right.
there is a difference. There's definitely a difference, and I
Well,
think that we've
let's-
gotten to this point where
it'd be interesting. Let's have her on. We'll extend an invitation to her. I'd love to have her on air.
I feel like
could-
she's gonna get mad at me. Say something and she's
She'll
gonna
go,
be
which
like,
one of you white bitches said something
Yeah.
about jigaboo music? And I'll go, that was Aaron.
No, I didn't say anything.
Aaron said everything about that.
all I said was that was horrible.
I'll just
I
say,
didn't know. I
she said
never heard
horrible
it.
things. She said something about Convigan. She said something about Denzel Washington. Just saying. I'm just saying she might have said something about Oprah Winfrey
No.
and not apologizing. So,
No,
on that note,
I also stand by my comment of jigaboo. I had never heard that word, but as soon as I heard that sentence, I thought, oh, you're in
something
trouble.
is not, girl.
Like, woo. I don't know what that
Why are
means.
you so stupid?
I don't know what that means, but I could take a guess, and I'm going to go ahead and say that wasn't
Yikes.
good. Like, even if it wasn't
That's
a word,
what I mean by saying, like, sometimes I feel very Fox News right now.
Even if it wasn't a word, like nobody had ever said that, saying jigaboo sounds pretty horrible. Like,
Holy Christ. I don't know. How do we get into racism again? I think this is a bee in our bonnet.
I think part of it is that,
We want to be racist and we're not allowed to. Oh,
well, I think we're getting sick of being told everything needs to be PC.
exactly.
I just don't, I'm not okay with that.
Fine.
Everybody's allowed to have their opinion. It shouldn't
No, they're
hurt
not.
other people.
I don't
get
want
it,
anybody
but
else to have any other opinion than the one on Take It to Two. And on that note,
Ours changes all the time.
listen, tomorrow I think Jigaboo's great. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says it, like Don Jones. Get a t-shirt that says it.
Yeah, Don Jones' answer to everything horrible is put it on a t-shirt.
And have me wear it. It's like the giant, widest target out there.
Maybe he thinks that
Oh,
people
and I have
won't
that
come at
accent
you.
too, huh?
Maybe he thinks that you're so big nobody will come at you. Like
Who knows?
you're 8 feet tall, so no one's gonna come up to your face and be like, "Hey, bitch."
It's got like a big bullseye. Oh, I think they've kicked my ass. I'd be like, suddenly mommy would be running. Like, as you don't jump or dance, or I'd be running down the
I
street.
just hit the ground and take it like a man, Angela.
Ooh, that made my butt already hurts. That made me clench. Well, that's been Take It to Two. We love you guys, and we'll be back next week if Aaron is not hospitalized or if I don't fall out of my house. Oh, and I also had an urinary tract infection. Thank you very much.
That wasn't
Did
from
the
me.
traveler tell you on our way out of town? I was like,
Yeah. You were having sympathies, except
was
that
like,
I didn't have
can't.
that problem.
I know, but I was just like, how does that happen?
You're dirty. You're a dirty PL.
I'm a dirty, dirty
You're
whore.
a dirty, dirty girl.
And Angle Schmengel Schmort,
hell
I'm
is-
looking for you.
What the hell is his name? Ansel Adams. What is his
No, that's a photographer, you idiot. Okay. Well, and do we want to say Take It to Two? We're amazing. Email us at takeit2@gmail.com. I don't know. What else?
Follow us on Twitter.
I just follow us on Twitter or Facebook or
Share us with your friends.
Instagram.
Pass us around. We like it.
Christ. I just have to be off air. My ass hurts. Okay. And goodbye. We love you.
And scene.
And scene.